Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Reporters Direct. My name is Ananya Bhardwaj, and I'm a senior assistant editor at ThePrint. Currently, I am in Kashmir Valley. I am reporting from here for the past 1 week, meeting a lot of officials, meeting people on the ground, meeting the administrative officials, also the police, the security forces, and I have been churning out some reports from the ground on the relevant issues that there are right now in the valley. So let me start with the security situation, because whenever we talk about Kashmir Valley, the first thing that comes to everyone's mind is the security. How is the security now? What is the status of the militants in the valley? What is the status of the Pakistani terrorists who had infiltrated in the last 1 year? What is the status of the killings that have been happening? So I'll just give you first a wrap before we start this discussion, and some of the people will also take some time to join and send their questions. So I will just give a wrap of the security situation in the valley. So the purpose of coming to the valley this time was to cover the civilian killings that have been on the rise, in fact, since October last year. So from the statistics that we have, the number of people, the number of civilians who have been killed in the valley are about 25. So that is a big number when you see in terms of the security situation that there should be in a place. So what is happening now in the valley is, and that is what has become a big challenge even for the J&K police, is that the people, the soft targets, are being shot down by either local militants or, in some cases, by Pakistani terrorists. So, from the interactions that we have had with the police, and in fact, in the people on the ground, they've said that it is these people, the Pakistani terrorists and the militants who are in operating in the valley currently, have started targeting these people who they see as soft targets. Now, when we say soft targets, we mean either these are people who are, say, civilians and have no access to any weapons or any defense mechanism, or these are people from the security forces, policemen, who are lower constabulary, who don't have any arms, who are, say, going back to their homes on leave. So these are the people, these are soft targets who are being attacked in the valley. According to the data that we have accessed from the police, till now 25, in fact 26 people have been killed since October 2021, in last so many months. And because of this, what is happening is that the action against terrorists have also increased in the valley. Now we see that on a daily basis, there are encounters that are happening. The operations are being carried out by both the local police and the army almost on a daily basis. So what we see is that even though these attacks on civilians are on the rise, the number of operations, the number of encounters have also increased manifold. So I would like to give some data of the presence of terrorists in the valley at present. So what police tells us is that in the last, say, 1 year, which is just 4 months, from January to now, 62 terrorists have been killed, out of which 39 are from Lashkar-e-Taiba. So what they say is that there are three major terror organizations that are operating in the valley right now, which includes the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, and the Hizbul Mujahideen. So the larger presence in the valley is of the Lashkar-e-Taiba, and 39 of those terrorists from LET have been killed in the last 4 months. In terms of the data of civilian killings, I'd like to tell you 25 odd killings of civilians have happened in the past 6-7 months, out of which 17 people were locals and 6 were outsiders. By outsiders, I mean people who have come from, who are not from Kashmir Valley but have come from outside to work. These include the laborers from Bihar, UP, and other states that have come here to work. This is this wrap of the security situation in the valley. In fact, from what we gathered from the police and from the security forces, while being on the ground, you would see that there are a lot of, in fact, tourists also this time that have come to the valley. When we landed here, we saw serpentine queues at the baggage claim. Then so many people were at Dal Lake, and so many people have gone to places, touristy places here, including Dudh Patri, Pahalgam, and other places. So this is being seen as a very positive sign by the administration here. They have said that almost 3.5 lakh tourists have come to the valley in the last 2 months. So that's a big figure, because for the past 3 years, there was a steady decline in the number of tourists who were coming to the valley. This was because of in 2019, after 370, the abrogation of Article 370, there was a tight security position. No tourists were allowed. There was a strict curfew. The internet was not working here, so which is why there was no tourists. And after that, 2 years was COVID, which is why not many tourists came to the valley. But this year, besides these security concerns, a lot of tourists are coming, and in fact, the hotels are booked till about July, August, and this is what the administration is telling us, that the hotels in the valley are overbooked. There are so many people who are coming, so that is being seen as a positive sign. So this is Reporters Direct. I am in the valley right now. You can ask any questions related to either security or any of the projects that are being implemented in JNK, any of the other questions that you might have about how we go on reporting in areas as sensitive as the valley. For others, you can also read my reports that I have been writing from the valley at theprint.in. And I will just start taking a few questions that we have received in advance. So I'll just take one question from Mr. Deepak. He asks, assuming you will meet and interview the Kashmir Muslim youth around, when you hear them voicing anti-India sentiments, and you're getting a sense that they are being truthful in stating their opinion as their own personal commitments, or do you feel they voice their opinion guided by people of influence within their community? So, as a reporter, I should tell you that when you come to Kashmir, the people here are extremely warm. So it's not that when you land when you're going around somewhere in the valley, you'll see anti-India slogans being raised or people talking bad things about India. That is not the case. In fact, when you ask them about how they feel about after the abrogation of 370, has it changed their lives in any way? So they are not able to give a clear answer as to if there has been a tangible change of sorts after 370 was abrogated, or there has been some sort of difficulties that they are facing. But yes, of course, it actually depends on which area you are standing in Kashmir. If I go to an area called downtown here, which the police officials say is the most notorious of the lot, because a lot of stone pelting incidents used to happen there. The police, in fact, alleges that there are a lot of sympathizers of terrorists who are there. So there's a Jama Masjid there where on every Friday there used to be incidents of stone pelting. So if you go to that area, if you go to that side, and you speak to people, they won't be very forthcoming in saying that we are very upset about something. But yes, there is a sense of disgruntlement, and I think since I have been on the ground so much and spoken to people, that is only because of this gap between that has been built over the years between the administration and the people. There's a lack of trust that you feel in their voice, because they feel that they are being suppressed. They feel that they are not being heard. And a lot of it is also because there have been no chief minister in JNK for so long. So they say that if we don't have a political representative where we can go and share our grievances with a person who would understand what kind of problems we are facing in our area, then what good is this? So they have their own set of issues that they speak about. They speak about their children or being picked up by police officials on suspicion that they are stone pelters. They also, when you prod more or when you ask them more, they also say that this situation in Kashmir Valley is not fine, it is controlled. By that they mean that they are being suppressed because they can't protest. If they protest, they are going to be booked under the PSA, the Public Safety Act. Or if they say anything, a case of UAPA, that is Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, will be registered against them. So that is what that section says. Now there's another section that you go to of people who are shopkeepers, who have their own businesses. They are not bothered about about what happened after 370, whether it made any difference. In fact, they are happy that the security situation is a little better. A lot of people are coming, the economy is much better now because of so many people coming in, the tourists, because here it mostly thrives in tourism. So if there are no people coming in the valley, say to travel or to buy things, then obviously it becomes difficult for businessmen who are into business of dry fruits, or they're into the business of carpets, shawls and other things. So it becomes difficult for them. So that lot is not worried about this thing, whether there should be whether we are in India, or we need to go merge with some other country, or we need independence. So there's a section here. It depends on where you are standing in the valley and talking to what sort of people. You will get mixed reactions from everybody. So that is what it is. Now, the second question is, just one second. Meanwhile, you can also keep sending your questions. I'm here to answer. This is Reporters Direct. I am sitting in Kashmir Valley and reporting on different issues. Yes, so the second question is, it's somewhat possible to guess what the Kashmiri Muslim youth feel. They feel about NC, BJP, and Congress. What is their opinion about other parties like Aam Aadmi Party or MIM, if at all they have an opinion? Is there a sense of positivity about the Indian politics, that they also can exert and contribute nationally with the Indian Republic? So yes, that's a good question, because right now is the time when the delimitation report is going to come out anytime soon, and then everybody here is expecting an election. So right from the local leaders to people who, because here people are very aware of politics, so they also talk about which CM is going to be the best fit. And strangely, when you talk about Aam Aadmi Party and all these other local parties, there's again a trust deficit with the people that I spoke to on the ground, with say NC or even PDP. So that also depends on what area you're standing. Like in South Kashmir, if you go, PDP is more popular. If you're in Central Kashmir, they'll talk about NC. So Aam Aadmi Party, in fact, now since after Aam Aadmi Party won in Punjab, I heard a lot of people talking about how that could be an alternative. In fact, I have not been to Jammu, but this is what people, locals, are telling me here, that the party is becoming very popular in Jammu also. So I think that is what the main thing is, that the alternative that the people may be seeking here. So nobody is talking about who's going to win or who's going to be the chief minister. Everybody is right now talking about the delimitation report. Because the final draft that came out, a lot of people did not agree with that draft, including the local leaders of local parties here. But everybody seems to be excited about the delimitation final report. What will it entail, when the elections will be announced, and which government is finally going to come in the valley? The next question, just one second. Is from Mr. Yogendra Pandya, and he's asking, what pushbacks are you receiving from higher authorities? May it be from within your industry or from politicians to sanitize the true findings? So let me tell you that whatever stories we do, or whatever facts that we find on the ground, we do not stop ourselves from reporting the facts that we see, because we are under any sort of pressure. Of course, the authorities can deny that this is not what is happening, or if we have, say, an adverse report from the ground, the authorities can definitely say or deny those claims, or say that it's or rubbish those claims. But that does not stop us from reporting the facts or the truth that we see on the ground. Of course, in whenever we say do any sort of story, or churn out any report, we make sure that those are factually correct. We make sure that we take all the versions from say from all the parties involved. If, say, there is a report, for instance, that I did on the Public Safety Act today, which has been published in ThePrint.in. The story is about the Public Safety Act, which is termed as draconian because whenever a person is slapped with PSA, then that person goes into jail for almost up to 2 years without say any without getting bail or having any access to lawyers. So this is why it is considered to be draconian, and which is why there's a lot of discontentment among people, because Jammu and Kashmir police has been using the Public Safety Act a lot. So much so that now the jails in J&K do not have space for people to be so that they can be put in those in jails. For example, I was told that over 500 people are currently under arrest under this draconian act, and now they don't have space to arrest more people. However, the crackdown is going on, and a lot of executed warrants are also lying because they don't have space to keep people. Now what their J&K police is doing is making space for the people who will now be arrested under PSA by talking to jails outside J&K. So they have spoken to prison authorities in UP, they have spoken to prison authorities in MP, so that space could be created to arrest more people and put them behind bars. Now, for instance, in this story, the authorities were very, very reluctant to share information. In fact, they kept saying that PSA, they kept justifying their crackdown on people, saying that PSA is a must in the valley because we need to pick up people who create law and order disturbances. We need to pick up people who resort to stone pelting so that the situation in the valley is controlled. And a lot of people, in fact, the locals here say that while these people are arresting youth and these are mostly people who are between the age group of 18 to say 25. So the locals feel that police, when they arrest these people, a lot of innocents also get arrested, and then they don't have any way of coming out of the jail, because if you're arrested under PSA for 6 months, there is no review. So a lot of people say that we keep going to the administration telling them that, my son was just picked up without any evidence. And in fact, under PSA, you don't even have to tell the person that why that person was picked up or what the person has done to be detained or arrested by the police. So which is why it is draconian, and it's creating a lot of discontentment among the public, because on the one hand, the police are saying that the crackdown is to ensure that the law and order in the valley remains fine. The people are saying that this is atrocity by the police. So when we spoke to the police about the PSA and why such a crackdown, they were very reluctant to share the data with us. In fact, they also said that what 3 to 4% of people may have been arrested. Just innocent people may have been arrested in the flow, but we do a review every 6 months, and we release the people who we feel are not guilty, or who we see are not guilty, or against who we don't have an evidence. We release them after a review of 6 months. But just imagine a person who's innocent staying in the prison for even 6 months. So that, people say, is not is a violation of human rights, and then there is no recourse. So which is why this has become a point of contention between the public and the police, where the public is quite upset by this crackdown of the police. So in a report like this, of course, there'll be police officials, senior officials, telling us that you should not go ahead with this report because it might be detrimental, to the police action. It might incite people, but these are facts, and we only report facts. So we did this story, but with a complete police version on what they are saying about PSA and these arrests and how they justify it. So which is why when you're reporting a story as sensitive as this, there could be allegations, counter allegations, but it is important that while you're putting out facts in your story, you also put out all versions, including the police's version and the people who are suffering, so that the reader can get like a full view of what the situation is and what is happening. uh, there's another question. Okay. what are hybrid terrorists, and what do the police mean by this term? So yes, that is a very interesting point, because right now what we are seeing in Kashmir is, when I talk about civilian killings, a lot of it are also being carried out by these terrorists, which the police have termed as hybrid terrorists. Now, what are hybrid terrorists? We spoke to senior officials in the police department, a lot of sources who have told us that these are people who are being recruited online by, say, handlers sitting in Pakistan. They have, in fact, arrested six of the hybrid terrorists in the last 1 year, which is in last 4 months. And what they found is that these people are locals who are either students or are either shopkeepers, or are just going about doing their thing in the valley. These are locals, and and these are people who are not on the police radar. So the police usually, or the security forces, have a dossier or a list or a profile of all the terrorists who are, say, active in the valley. But these are people these are local people, who the police don't have any record of. So these are not people who feature in any of their, say, intel reports or in their lists. So which is why it is becoming a big challenge for the Jammu and Kashmir police to identify these people who are, say, getting in touch with the terrorists across the border online, getting training online. In fact, from what I was told, that in one of the cases where there's a popular dhaba here, Krishna Dhaba, there was a killing that happened in January, and when the investigation took place, the police found out that the person who had carried out the killing, in fact, was a local, and had received all the information of killing the target online. So, from what we know from sources, and in fact, I spoke to the IGP Kashmir in detail about this. He told me that in most of these cases, these people are get in touch online with these recruiters. They are given a target online. They are told when to target and how to target, and then the weapon, which mostly is a pistol nowadays, is sent to them. Now, it is only online that these people are told about how to go about the killing. Once the killing is done, or once the target is achieved, somebody collects the pistol from them, and then that person who has targeted the killer goes back into the system. Like, if he's a student, then he'll go back to his studies. If he's a shopkeeper, he'll start with his usual business again, and then they merge with the locals. Then they lie low for about 3 to 4 months before the next target is given to them. So that is why the police term these offenders, these militants, or if these terrorists, as hybrid terrorists, because these guys are those guys whose record is not there with the police, and which is why it is becoming very difficult for them to really pinpoint and to identify that who are these people, with which outfit are they involved. So which is why now a lot of outreach programs are also being planned by the police, so that the locals, in fact, start giving them information about their fellow locals, if they are doing any sort of suspicious activity, if they are meeting people who are suspicious, or they are spending most of their time outside the house, or if their parents know something of them being online for long and speaking to people who may be suspicious. So a lot of these outreach programs have also started. In fact, in an interview with the Print, the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, Vijay Kumar, also told us that the local support in the valley has reduced considerably for these terrorists who are either coming from outside Pakistan or are being recruited locally. Because what the police has now started doing is, they have started attaching properties of locals who provide logistical support to these people. So, in case if I am a person who's providing logistical support to a terrorist by, say, giving my place to stay or giving them food, my property at the end, if the police finds out, was being used in any way by the terrorist, is going to be attached. So, which is why now the people, they say, have started driving the terrorist out, refusing them place to stay or giving them any sort of logistical support. In fact, they're also saying that that locals, parents whose children, teenagers, youth who are, say, taking up to terrorism, are getting inducted or recruited or go missing from their homes are coming forward to the police to seek help. In fact, he shared a data with us saying that in 25% of the cases, the parents approached us, and we, in fact, helped those people who had joined the terror ranks come back to the mainstream with the help of their parents, making them speak to them and providing some sort of counseling. So this is what is happening in the Kashmir Valley right now, as far as the security is concerned, as far as the terror aspect is concerned. The last thing that I would want to share here is about the infiltration from the Pakistan side. So in winters, let me tell you that the infiltration is anyway less, because there's a lot of snow on the borders, so which is why the infiltration comes to almost zero. There are slight infiltrations from here and there, but not much. So now the summers, as summers begin from April onwards, the infiltration increases. But from the data that we have right now, only 2 to 3 attempts have been made till now for of infiltration. So in fact, the police here are seeing this also as a positive sign, that the infiltration from the Kashmir sector is much less from what it used to be earlier. So this is Ananya Bhardwaj, Senior Assistant Editor at ThePrint, reporting from Kashmir. Thank you so much for watching Reporters Direct. For all my reports from the Valley, please keep a track of our website, theprint.in, and you can read all the news reports covering the situation here in the Valley, whether it's politics or security or stories of general public here at ThePrint. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for watching.